his dog can go walking. A boy and his dog sometimes talk to each other. A boy and a dog can be happy sitting out in the woods on a log.
Welcome to the wonderful world of dodgy movies and TV. I am your host, Movie and TV Mistress. And for the final review of November and our sci-fi month, I'm reviewing a film from 1975, so it's a bit before Star Wars actually. Starring Don Johnson and Jason Robards, with a kind of talking dog called A Boy and His Dog.
Do I gawk at you when you're working?
Le ciel bleu sur nous peut s'effondrer et la terre peut bien s'écrouler. Peu m'importe si tu m'aimes, je me fous du monde entier. Tant que l'amour inondera mes matins, tant que mon corps frémira sous tes mains, peu m'importe les problèmes, mon amour, crois-tu qu'on
Okay, so that trailer is kind of artsy really, for a 75 film, but then when I look at movies from the 70s, I have to say, sometimes the trailers are beautifully artistic and different. And this film is definitely different, but it has inspired so much. So, what is A Boy and His Dog? So, the story is about a boy and his dog. Okay, so it's set in an alternate timeline, and Don Johnson, doing Watchmen, must be used to it by now because he's been doing it since the 70s. Anyway, so in this alternate timeline, there was a Third World War, kind of in the 60s, and then some point around about now, there was a Fourth World War that lasted 5 days, causing a post-apocalyptic world that we now live in. And the year that this film is set is 2024, so we've only got about 4 years to go. Well, technically 5, because you have to include 2020. So 5 years to go until we get to that post-apocalyptic future where apparently Don Johnson can telepathically communicate with his dog, called Blood. Now, Don Johnson's character is called Vic, but Blood the dog keeps referring to him as Albert.
Hell, they didn't have to cut her. She could have been used 2 or 3 more times.
War is hell.
All right, run it again.
You're so funny when you're sexually frustrated.
I'm funny enough to kick you upside the butt. I said fine, and I ain't kidding.
One does not say ain't, Albert. Simply say, I'm not kidding.
Fine, dog meat. And stop calling me Albert.
Now, you would stone a poor, defenseless animal, wouldn't you? Yes, I can tell that you would. I can tell by your short breath and your disgusting, aggressive behavior that you would. And that's because you're not a nice person, Albert. You're not a nice person at all.
Now, the entire time I'm watching this movie, I'm thinking, is that like an insult? Like, is he saying he's, like, not so smart? So he calls him Albert, as in Albert Einstein. Has nothing to do with that. Has to do with some book written by some author back in the day about his colleagues called Albert. This guy who wrote the books was called Albert. Anyway, the film, as I say, has inspired so much. It inspired the computer game Fallout. Because this film, as I say, set in post-apocalyptic future, has people who, well, have created life underground. So it's kind of like the opposite of Time Machine, where the Morlocks live underground and the Eloi live above. It's kind of the opposite. The mutants live up and the beautiful people live underground with white face paint. Kind of weird. I don't remember seeing any black people down there. So yeah, and they made the underground world kind of look like a early 1900s sort of era. They dress that way. They have marching bands. Kind of maybe towards the end of the Second World War, maybe, I don't know. But in this underground vault, as Fallout refer to them as, they need fresh DNA, let's say. And so they send up somebody to go and coerce people down into the vault to help them continue to thrive and survive. Meanwhile, the main story is that Don Johnson is a teenage boy who is super horny, who has a dog that can sniff out women. Yep. Super horny boy with a dog that can sniff out women. He's trying to survive a post-apocalyptic future where, unfortunately, food is scarce, shelter is scarce, and there are mutant people that try and kill you. And kill you they will. And then possibly rape you. Or hopefully before they kill you. I don't know, maybe not. It's kind of dark and depressing, and then strangely comic at the same time. And it has also inspired Mad Max, because I believe that this film was well before Mad Max came out and may have influenced that genre of post-apocalyptic futures where we all live in a desert wasteland and are kind of dying of radiation poisoning or whatever. It's based on a short novella by an author called Harlan Ellison. Now, he started to write the script for this but got writer's block. So the director, L.Q. Jones, and another person involved in the film called Alvy Moore, finished off the script and finished off the movie. Harlan Ellison was pretty happy with the movie, apart from the last line of the movie.
Had enough to eat?
Oh, yeah. I'm satiated.
What?
Nothing, I said I'm full, but after we walk all day, you'll probably have to cook up what's left.
She said she loved me. Well, hell, it wasn't my fault she picked me to get all wet brain over.
Well, I'd say she certainly had marvelous judgment, Albert, if not particularly good taste. Particularly.
Now, out of context, you don't know what's happened up until this point, so let me spoil it for you just a little bit. So as I said, the underground world require fresh DNA, and well, Don Johnson is brought down there by a woman who tricks him into following her. So he follows her because he's super horny and he's shagged her loads and he just wants more. Good. I mean, a bit like Don Johnson in real life, really, because he just seems to bed every woman in Hollywood. Anyway, so he goes down, and then after being cleaned and this hilarious bath sequence, he's finally pulled up in front of the committee, which is headed by Jason Robards.
Fruit of your loins will enable the productive citizenry of Topeka to overcome metabolic changes resulting from lengthy subterranean living. Allow it to keep its leadership in the drive to remake this sinful world in God's own image. See, we've been underground too long. Our women can't get pregnant. Every once in a while, we need new blood.
We need a new man.
We are never so happy, nor so
New man.
unhappy as we imagine. Another helpful hint for living from the committee's
Special
almanac.
kind of man.
You mean you want me to knock up your broad? You talked me into it. Line him up. You first, honey.
Take your hands off me.
Don Johnson's all for it. Sorry, Vic is all for it. He's like, yeah, get me the women. I will bed every one of them for you. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. There's going to be 35 women, and we choose them. And it's not the way you think it's going to happen. Next scene, he's randomly being married to 35 women in wedding dresses while being strapped to a bed with his mouth taped. And he is being not manually, electrically, I guess milked. Yeah. So, no fun for him. But thankfully, the girl he shagged quite a bit, who actually wants to take over the committee and wants to have a revolution with her friends, frees him. And then stages a coup and basically begs Vic to kill the committee. He doesn't even want to get involved. He just wants to get back up to the surface and back to his dog Blood, who he's left behind because Blood can't climb down the ladder. Yeah, I still don't know how he got down the ladder earlier in the movie into the gymnasium. Sure. By the time he gets out, Blood is dying, and, well, he's hungry and dying. And Vic's had his fill of that woman, because she's an evil, manipulative girl, as we all are, because we're all evil. Goes back to the Bible. Women are evil. And, well, yeah. As much as she says she loves him, he doesn't care. He just wanted sex. He doesn't want a love life. He doesn't want to settle down. He just wants sex. So, they eat her. And the movie ends. Wow. Okay. It's actually a very interesting film that is underrated and unfortunately didn't do very well when it came out. The critics were very harsh of it. They called it juvenile, they called it all these other things, and they basically insulted the movie and said it was just not a good film. They may not have understood what it was trying to tell. It's in the same way the Time Machine showed you a post-apocalyptic future where it looked like, utopia had arrived. But it wasn't utopia. The Eloys were stupid and couldn't feed themselves, and the Morlocks did all the work and lived underground and had weird eyes and faces and skin and all that. This deals with another future. What if it's actually the Eloys live underground and need the Morlocks to help breed and keep their life going? I mean, they have plenty of technology. They've got all this stuff down there to make sure that they don't die or survive, die of starvation. Pretty much this movie is Don Johnson just trying to get laid. And when he does get laid, he then stops thinking logically and listening to his dog and just starts thinking with his dick. But entirely the whole way through he's actually just thinking with his dick and sometimes listening to his dog. Some of the interesting things about this film that I actually enjoyed was the intelligence of the dog. It's never explained how he communicates with the dog. It's just the dog and him communicate and nobody else can hear the dog. so they're telepathically linked. It's also never explained how the dog has super intelligence and knows all about history and is explaining this to Vic, who is a stupid teenage boy who is just horny. So we learn about the fact that there was a Third World War and that there was then a Fourth World War. Now, when it was originally broadcast or screened at cinemas back in '75, it didn't have a little text at the start of the movie. That was put in 1982. Apparently in 1982 there was a lot of going back to the 70s movies and adding text crawls or changing text crawls. Wonder what else did that. Yeah. Don't know about that. Apparently in the 80s we'd like to just change things that happened in the 70s and just add things to movies. And then we like to just keep doing that and altering them and just adding more random shit to an original trilogy and an original movie that everyone liked the way it was, and it was successful the way it was, but yet we get random lines from Guido now, as well as random who shot first, I don't care, it was always just Han Solo shot Guido, just leave it alone. But back to A Boy and His Dog. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's on a lot of the free to view channels on Roku, so you can find it. You can even find it on YouTube. It is worth a watch. It's definitely an interesting film, and one that I am very glad I've seen, because I've never actually watched a Don Johnson movie when I think about it. And I'm watching Don Johnson in Watchmen at the minute. Yes, I never watched Miami Vice as a kid, and Nash Bridges just seemed weird when I was a teenager, so I never watched that. But I have to say, Don Johnson does an excellent job of being the leading man in this film, and shows all a range of emotions, from anger of being horny to happiness of being horny to just being horny. So Don Johnson, horny! I would say if you get a chance, I would actually say watch it. If you like films like Mad Max or any of those dark futures, but I will warn you, it's not all dark, it's not all depressing, it's actually quite funny. And I have to give it to them that the dog is excellent in this movie. It's a lovely shaggy dog, and it is so brilliant, and whoever trained it is amazing. And then the dialogue from the guy who composes the music for the film, doing the dialogue of Blood, is brilliant, and it works so well. And yeah, I don't know if James Cagney would have been the right choice for that voice, but apparently that's who they wanted at that point, was James Cagney to do the voice of the Blood, but they worried that that would distract. There is a bit of adult content in this film, so it's not suitable for everyone, and though it's called A Boy and His Dog, it really isn't for kids, because, well, there's a lot of sex in it, okay? And if it's not Don Johnson doing it, it's on screen because he goes to a cinema type place that is showing what they refer to as stag films. And I had to find out what those were. Basically secret porn films. Anyway, next month, as I said last week, will be a Christmas month, but I have 2 ideas for New Year's week. So I will be posting up a little message about them closer to New Year's to say which one would you prefer I review. I have had a couple of suggestions of Christmas movies to review for the first couple of weeks of December, so do tune in for them. If you have any other suggestions, please comment down below on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, on my webpage, and I will definitely try and fit in as many as I can. If not, maybe I'll do it again next year and choose some of the ones I didn't use this year next year. Who knows? Some would say Star Wars is a Christmas film, because guess what? Rise of Skywalker comes out on the 19th of December, so I know what I'll be watching at Christmas. I will see you all again next week for Christmas movies. Yay, Christmas! And if you can't see it, but there is a tree right beside me, covered in Star Wars decorations. Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to hit that subscribe button, comment down below as I said earlier, and when you hit the subscribe button, if you hit the notification bell over there, that will notify you when I upload. Please share this video with your friends, and I'd like to thank all 56 of my current subscribers, because it's going up every week at the minute, which I really appreciate, for viewing and for subscribing to my channel. It lets me know that you are enjoying my content and that you actually are watching. So thanks for that. And ask any questions you have. I would appreciate any questions, comments, anything really, because I'd like to get to know you and what you think about these movies and what you think I should be reviewing. So till next week and the Christmas movie season, I will see you then. Bye!
A boy and his dog can go fishing. A boy can teach a dog to bring a dish in when he's hungry. A boy and a dog can be happy sitting out in the woods on a log, but a dog